Hold on tight, cause it's gonna be intense. This is Poochie Talk, bitches. Hold on tight, it's gonna be intense. This is Poochie Talk, bitches. Ladies and gentlemen, theys and them, welcome to another episode of Poochie Talk. I'm your host, Poochie. On this episode, vamos a hablar de algo que you probably know someone like this, or maybe you are that person. If you are, you need therapy, and that's the only way to be better. We're gonna talk about narcissism. Yes, vamos a hablar de lo que es ser un narcisista. Este término is thrown around a las personas que usualmente son seguros de ellos mismos. Hay una diferencia bien grande en ser seguro de ti mismo y ser un narcisista. Y we're going to go into that. Una parte, sí, it's to be self-obsessed. Yes, some of them take selfies all the time, are obsessed with their appearance. En ciertos aspectos, pues tienen como que complejo de superioridad or just think they're better than everybody. There's people that are like that without being a narcissist, because being a narcissist is a whole concept. Let's start off with the definition of what it actually is. Narcissistic personality disorder, one of the several types of personality disorders, is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. That's the key, the lack of empathy. Porque aunque ellos noten que it's su self-obsessiveness está afectando a los de su alrededor, they simply cannot put themselves in another position que no sea la de ellos. And it's really hard to put them in your shoes. Narcissistic personality disorder involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people, and an excessive need for admiration. Others often describe people with MPD as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronizing, and demanding. These are like the typical narcissistic traits. Let's go into, first of all, we're going to talk about a narcissist in many roles. A narcissist as a family member, as a parent, sibling, others. A narcissist as a friend. A narcissist as a boss, and a narcissist as a partner. Stay till the end to go to the partner one. That's the one that I'm going to go do a little bit of more emphasis, because I think it's the most harmful. Siento que cuando tú estás íntimamente envuelto con una persona que es un narcisista, it's so hard to create boundaries and just simply be with that person without the constant, wow, you only think about yourself thought that you're going to have most of the time. And first of all, let's talk a little bit about the types of narcissism that exist. There's 5 types of narcissism, but there's 2 categories. Hay uno que adaptive narcissism. Esto es del site Psych Central. Adaptive narcissism refers to accept the narcissism that can actually be helpful, like high self-esteem, high self-confidence, self-reliance, and the ability to celebrate yourself. Ese es el que estamos diciendo, que is that friend that is kind of obsessed with him, her, they self, but it's not harmful to you. You just see them like, oh, that's my self-obsessed friend. That she even makes you want to put yourself to that level, or he or they. They don't want you. They don't see you as a competition. They're just obsessed with themselves. They don't need your validation or recognition. They just are. And I know people like that. I think I'm a little bit like that. Yo siento que at the end of the day, like the first episode, I do a lot of fake it till you make it. I fake a lot of, now I have it, but I faked my seguridad a lot. And it is, I can portray myself as a little bit show-offy when I get too comfortable. But I recognize that. But Then there's the maladaptive narcissism. It's connected to the traits that don't serve you and can negatively impact how you relate to yourself and others. For example, entitlement, aggression, and the tendency to take advantage of others. This would be associated with symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. That's the name of the disorder per se. When most people talk about narcissism, they usually refer to the types of narcissism under the maladaptive umbrella. Researchers and experts typically work around 5 types of narcissism: overt narcissism, covert narcissism, antagonist narcissism, communal narcissism, and malignant narcissism. Let's start off with the first. Overt narcissism. Overt narcissism is also known by several other names, including grandiose narcissism and agentic narcissism. This type of narcissism is what most people associate with narcissistic personality. Someone with overt narcissism might come across as outgoing, arrogant, entitled, overbearing, having an exaggerated self-image, needing to be praised and admired, exploitative, competitive, lacking of empathy. That's a key word. Todos los narcisistas vas a ver que they just simply can't be in your shoes. They will not understand what you're feeling. And if they do, they're doing it just to manipulate you and sort of mirror your personality to, at the end of the day, just get you to do whatever the fuck they want, or if you want to leave, get you to stay. Some research connects over narcissism with big 5 personality traits of extraversion and openness. It also suggests people with overt narcissism are more likely to feel good about themselves, less likely to experience uncomfortable emotions like sadness, worry, or loneliness. People with overt narcissism may also attempt to overestimate their own abilities and intelligence. Yo tengo un pana, which I'm never going to name drop, but he is or was my close friend, and he is a super, I think, overt narcissist. Like, he's always like overestimating his abilities and intelligence, and gets hurt at the end because maybe he's not el todopoderoso. He can't do most of the things he portrays that he can do better than others. Because that's the thing. He's also talked about, I started that, I did that better, I once did that, if I do it, me quedo con todo. You know, they never feel like compassion or just like happiness towards others and su logro. Siempre they're gonna make them about themselves. Covert narcissism, also known as vulnerable narcissism and closet narcissism. Covert narcissism is a contrast of overt narcissism. While many people think narcissism is as loud and overbearing trait, people with covert narcissism don't fit this pattern. Instead, some traits of someone with okay, listen, I recuerden que mi idioma principal es español, so I'm trying the best I can, and I think I do well. Instead, some common traits of someone with covert narcissism includes expression of low self-esteem, higher likelihood of experiencing anxiety, depression, and shame, introversion, insecurity or low confidence, defensiveness, avoidance, tendency to feel or play the victim. Yo siento que esto también es una, ¿verdad? I don't want to debate with the experts, pero siento que un narcisista overt, y lo dijo ahí, sí, que como que un overt también puede ser covert. Siento que cuando they get caught, they play the covert narcissism part. Like, they start like self-sabotaging, like, I'm the worst. Y es para que tú le digas que son los mejores, even if they did the worst thing on earth. Antagonist narcissism. According to some research, antagonist narcissism is the subtype of overt narcissism. With this aspect of narcissism is focused to rivalry and competition. Some features of an antagonist narcissism include arrogance, tendency to take advantage of others, tendency to compete with others, disagreeability, and proneness to arguing. Tu punto jamás va a ser válido. Jamás va a ser válido. Y más if it's something that they're very passionate about, they're not gonna give you the chance for you to think otherwise. And the second that you lo contradiga, they're gonna make you feel worse about yourself. And even if it has nothing to do with you, they're just projecting on you because they have this huge fear of failing or just not being the best, that they will drag you down every time they can, because that's the only thing that will make them feel as the winner, which is totally sad, and it just proves at the end that they have low self-esteem. Communal narcissism is another type of overt narcissism. It's usually seen as an opposite of antagonist narcissism. Someone with communal narcissism values fairness and is like to see themselves as altruistic. But research published in 2018 suggests that there's a gap between these beliefs and the person's behavior. People with communal narcissism might become easily morally outraged, describe themselves as empathetic and generous, react strongly to things that they see unfair. Maybe I'm that. So what makes a communal narcissist different from a genuine concern for the well-being of others? The key difference is that people with communal narcissism, socially power and self-importance are playing major roles. For example, while communal narcissism might cause you to say you have a strong moral code or care for others, you might not realize the way you treat others doesn't match up with your beliefs. Okay, no, that's not me. But I know el pana que te estaba diciendo que he's a narcissist. Esto lo podemos incluir a él en eso. We have had lots of fights. De yo decirle, bro, let's not talk about this because this will bring us apart. Like, en este pensamiento, los dos tenemos distintas morales y siento que we're just gonna argue over it. And he's just like, no, you're wrong. No, you have to be able. He gaslights you. Gaslights me, en este caso, to just listen to what he has to say, even though I told you I don't want to listen to it. I know what it's gonna bring to us. We're gonna debate and you're not gonna be okay with my points. But they still want to have the tussle. Malignant narcissism. Narcissism can exist in different levels of severity, and malignant narcissism is the more severe form. It can also cause more problems for the person living with them. Malignant narcissism is more closely connected to overt than covert narcissism. Someone with malignant narcissism may have common traits of narcissism, like strong need for praise to be elevated above others. But in addition, malignant narcissism can show up as vindictiveness, sadism, and getting enjoyment from others people's pain, aggression when they're interacting with other people, paranoia or heightened a worry about potential threats. So those are the 5 types of narcissism: malignant, communal, antagonistic, covert, and overt. That's a little bit of what los expertos lo dividen en las categorías que lo pueden dividir, but at the end of the day, they have the same thing in common, is that they are self-obsessed and lack empathy. At the end of the day, that's something as a human you have to have and preserve and actually enjoy. I'm talking about empathy, because you have to coexist in a world with others. And yes, you viniste solo al mundo, mueres solo, y mayoría de las cosas you have to figure out by yourself, but you have to be considerate of others, because at the end of the day, you'll never be happy. You'll always be looking at the person on the side, and that is totally not okay. The only way to fix a person with narcissism is that he or she or they admits it and goes to therapy, so he could be aware of its behavior and switch the mindset to a more empathetic, giving, open-minded one. Let's talk about narcissistic family members. I've met friends with narcissistic parents. De lo que leí, I'm totally 100% de acuerdo. That's, I think, one of the most heartbreaking narcissist characters that you can have in your life, because it will shift your entire personality. It will affect how you view things, how you view others, and yourself. How to know if you are dealing with a narcissistic family member? They usually have self-importance. The word that comes to mind is grandiose. The narcissistic parent will exaggerate and lie about themselves. No respect for boundaries. Communication as warfare. Gaslighting. Playing the victim. Abusive behavior and neglect. Obviously, there's other family members, aunts, cousins, brothers and sisters that could also be narcissists. And the thing is that usually when it's a family, un vínculo familiar, like parents and their and their kids. If your parent's a narcissist, you are not far away of getting in a relationship with a narcissist, or you could potentially end up in an abusive relationship. How to deal with a narcissistic family member is 100% on you. You have to understand that, first of all, this person is a narcissist. It's not thinking about you or how you feel. They know that you are probably right. They just won't ever admit that they were wrong in something. And they usually have a lot of guilt, and they will portray it on their children. Every trauma that they have will be passed down, or at least they will try. Not, o sea, no te quiero decir que adrede, pero a la misma vez conozco muchos padres que como ellos no lo tuvieron, como ellos tuvieron que sufrir, como que sus hijos también, o como que tuvieron hijos para que ellos los cuidaran. Como que cuando los hijos crezcan, que se hagan cargo de sus padres. Como si fuera, obviamente, eso es un goal. I want to take care of my parents, pero because they deserve it. Because they were great. Because they valued me as a human being and considered my emotions and my well-being. But la sangre no pesa más que el agua. La sangre no pesa más que el agua. What the fuck was that? You do not have to do that if your parents suck. And some parents suck and think that su hijo van a estar ahí para ellos no matter what, just because they gave birth to them, and that's not okay. How to deal with a narcissistic family member. Here's some tips and tricks. Avoid direct confrontation, because those with NPD are extremely sensitive to criticism. Calling a true narcissist a narcissist typically backfires and worsens the situation. Don't accept harmful behavior. Focus on choices, set limits, get support and professional counseling. That direct yo tenía una amiga que su mamá es narcisista, and I always was like, yo, ¿me entiendes? Call her up, ¿me entiendes? Set her up, ¿me entiendes? Como que dile la que hay, déjasela caer, ¿me entiendes? We're grown-ups ya, como que el respeto es mutuo, como que, y ella siempre me decía como que lo que es que si yo hago eso, ¿me entiendes? She's gonna go insane. And she had a way of dealing with her. She would like ignore her and like call her out by the words that she exactly said. And it worked for a while. I think it's still, we don't talk that much anymore, but I think it has worked, and she knows like how to control her and like just not control her, but deal with her in that way. But honestly, the only way, and usually if it's a fully developed narcissist, an adult, the only way to deal with that is looking for professional help for yourself, and maybe a group counseling with your parents, like with the family members that are exposing this type of behavior. Narcissistic friendships, I've been here. And I think with like, either you played the role as the narcissistic friend, or you were the friend of the narcissist. And believe it or not, I was the friend of the narcissist. She wasn't directly harmful to me anytime, but I knew como sus sentimientos siempre eran más importantes que los míos. Like, even in the relationship, I would put her before me every fucking time. And friendships are not like that. I used to suffer a lot in silence because I knew she didn't give a fuck. Like, every time my depression was starting up, and she was the first person I told, like, I had trigger warning, suicidal thoughts. And she literally was like, but why? Como que tú estás triste todo el tiempo. Como que that's so lame. Like, she was so out of it and started talking about her problems in her life and all the boys that she was with. And yeah, like, I remember plainly just being like a secondary character in someone's life. And friendships are not like that. Like, you guys are all the main characters, and it's a individual story. And if you feel like this in your relationship with your friends, let me tell you to check your friends twice. Narcissistic parents. Narcissistic friends seek out constant praise, priority their own needs, lack of empathy, have high expectations of their friends, and often end friendships when they no longer serve them. And algo que vi también es que they usually don't have long-term friends. Como que, and every narcissistic bitch que fue la mejor amiga de alguna amiga mía está sola ahora mismo y no tiene ningún tipo de amigo de infancia because no one really fucks with you like that. Usualmente tienen una pareja que la soporta, and that's it. Aquí hay otros traits. Has unreasonable expectations. The narcissist expects their friend to meet all of their emotional needs, blames projects and guilt trips on you, is very jealous, does an abusive cycle, does an abusive behavior, uses threatening behavior, faked remorse. That's the cycle. Como que porque then you call out that your needs are not being pleased and you don't feel as emotionally attended as the friend, and they're like, they're gonna switch it up. Like, they're gonna make it seem like that one time you didn't pick up the phone, that one time you guys had a fight, that one time you went with a guy but instead of being with her, but you never do that, and she does it all the time. And yeah, that's the friends right there, and that's something that you guys need to be careful with and cut ties. Like, todo lo que cuando tú Google how to deal with a narcissist, lo primero que te van a decir es que te vaya. Like, cut ties and don't deal with that person because it eventually will drain you and they will never figure out that they're a narcissist. So the only way they're going to figure it out is by themselves and with a lot of therapy. And usually narcissists are not honest with their therapist. La mamá de mi amiga le mentía tanto a su psicóloga. Yo no sé si es verdad, pero yo siento que sí. I swear to God que tenía que mentirle porque no puede ser que esa mujer como que la dejen caminar por el mundo así. O sea, shout out to her porque tengo a mi amiga, pero la misma vez como que wow. Este también es súper importante. Narcissistic boss and co-workers. A narcissistic boss might require excessive praise, often seem volatile, and purposely ignore your work accomplishments. The key to dealing with a narcissistic boss is sustain your own perspective about your work and your self-worth despite your boss reaction. Pausa. Don't say in any job that you feel that you're being abused. No type of money is worth you being abused psychologically or just feeling like your self-worth or your hard work isn't enough. Please leave that job. You will be taken care of in another place. Estoy segura que a alguien le hacen falta tu expertise and will love to have you as an employee and will respect you and respect your work and your person as it is. 10 powerful ways to deal with your narcissistic boss. Understand the source. Respond. Don't react. Set clear boundaries. Don't allow them to get under your skin. Don't feed the beast. Don't empower those who don't deserve it. Fact check everything. Don't argue. You know what I've learned? A la mala, that when you're right, you don't have to use the tone. You don't have to get agitated. You don't have to take anything personal. When you're right, you're right. When you did a good job, you did a great job. Be very aware of the words that they use and what they're calling out, because usually they're just projecting onto things they can't do and they see you as a potential threat to take their place. Because they're probably were the best at the time en ese punto, but now you probably are getting there or something like that. Maybe you have a lot of potential and it's threatening. And maybe that's an even narcissistic way to mindset to put things, but don't, if it helps not getting you down, like if it helps you not letting other people put you down, understand that a lot of people, yes, are afraid of new, fresh, young faces and potential. And I've seen and I've heard and I've witnessed just manipulative, exploitative bosses and coworkers, and that's not okay. While narcissistic bosses are eager to point out the flaws and toots about their own strength, they're quick to make excuses and dodge responsibility for their own errors. Rather than admit a mistake, they blame someone else or avoid it altogether. Ellos simplemente van a ver como que some way to put the blame on you, because they will not admit that they fail at something in a job that they probably have been there for 20 years plus. You're getting old, buddy. Get the fuck out of there. Am I right? Now let's go to the most important one, because I think this is so heartbreaking when you fall in love with a narcissist. It is honestly painful, because these are people with potential, probably with awesome sense of humor. They probably are half of the things that they paint to be, that they exaggerate they are. They probably do have what it takes to be that gracious, grandiose person that they think they are, but they lack human morals and empathy and just being one with others. How can you tell if you're in a narcissistic relationship? Sense of entitlement or superiority, lack of empathy, manipulative or controlling behavior, strong need for admiration, focus on getting one's own need met after ignoring the needs of others, higher levels of aggression. Esto es como que ya cuando el narcisista se dejó ver, at the beginning, it's not going to be like that. There's just going to be something that is called love bombing. They're going to be perfect at the beginning because they owe themselves that. They have already told the world, their mom, their friends, their ex, that they're the best people walking around. So they have to show you that they're great partners, they're great lovers, because they want you to fall in love with the idea that they even have of themselves. If you don't know what love bombing is, I'm going to tell you right now. Love bombing is when you're showered with nonstop gifts, compliments, attention. These beginnings of a cycle of abuse where the love bomber withholds love and attention to manipulate you. Being showered with love can feel so good. It can be instant confident boost to feel so wanted and appreciated by someone else. Yet something doesn't feel sincere. You can put your finger on it, but it's there. You may have become your partner's narcissistic supply. Fix to boost their ego. At the end of the day, as I just said, they will do this to create this technique as a tool for you to feel less every time you don't have the gifts, the attention, and the compliments, making you need them. In their mind, making them the superior, el baba uba, the shit of the relationship. An example of narcissistic abuse, love bombing, para que tengan una idea. Stage 1, love bombing. To give you an example of love bombing, I will tell you a story about Andrea. Andrea had been dating her boyfriend Mike for about a year. She recently ended up a relationship due to him cheating on her. After the breakup, Mike started showering her with the most beautiful love letters she's ever been given, along with thoughtful, expensive gifts. Andrea was at one sweep away, yet suspicious. Mike had never acted like this in their relationship, not even in the beginning. His character was inconsistent. He was hot and cold. That's exactly how it feels like. And they will usually do it at the beginning and every time they fuck up. Like, you will get a special treatment in the beginning, and then they will support you in all your dreams, support you even economically. They will paint you this future that of them or with you. A super, when you're walking into something and you feel like this too good to be true, it probably is. And it's okay to be romantic. You have to keep an eye open on different, como que diferencial si están siendo romántico or they're just love bombing you, so they can use that extends over stimulating seduction technique for every time that you're alone or things are bad. Remember the good times and recline on that version that you met of them. There's different stages y de value. El primero es love bombing, el segundo es devalue, es que no quiero leer la historia entera de Andrea, el tercero es discard y el cuarto es hoovering. Ladies and gentlemen, we had to take a quick break. I'm just kidding. My camera just shut down, but we're finishing up. Son los distintos stages de Andrea, but we're not going through that. Basically, esto va a ser un cycle de hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold, until you'll realize that this person is not loving you. They're just love bombing you to keep you around or just for them to keep getting control. And the moment you caught them in the act, they will obviously deny and they will probably play the victim and even throw in your face everything that they spent on you, the time that they spent on you, the good times that you guys had, the money, everything. They will throw it in your face, or maybe they will block you and make you leave you blindsided just to drive you crazy. The narcissists, you will think they never paid attention to me. No, they did. They collected what they needed to know so they can control you and manipulate you. We need to keep an eye open on this. Y decidí hacer este episodio, a little story time. Fui en un date a comer con un tipo, and I haven't went on a date in a while. He's a creator, he's a creative. And I knew this before, todos los creativos en la área, que sea pintores, actores, artistas, cantantes, whatever. They literally are so full of themselves. They have everyone telling them and sucking their dick. And the moment we sat down, that guy didn't ask one question about me. He literally talked about himself. I thank God that I love talking about myself without being asked, because fuck, bro. But yeah, never going out with him again. He was very respectful, very funny, but I just noticed that I wasn't talking about myself, and I enjoy that part of, when you go on a date for the first time with a guy and he gets to know you and you get to know him. I know his entire life. He literally, we ended up the date and I was like, oh, well, good seeing you, what the blah, blah, blah. And he was like, ¿qué vas a hacer? ¿Qué sé yo? Creo que voy a hacer contenido ahora de OnlyFans. Yeah. En serio? Yeah, I do that. No, yeah. You literally didn't listen to a word I said. Como que I said it. Y una chamaquita super cute me paró y me dijo como que me encanta tu podcast, qué sé yo. We went to a smoke shop and she was working there. And she was like, y él como que no escucho esa conversación. Yo dije algo en mi podcast. Y él, tú tienes un podcast. Y yo como que, good boy. Yeah, it was a no-no for me. But I got dinner, I smoked with someone, and I wasn't lonely. Me prestó atención. He looked at me cute, I guess. But thank God that I've been with tons of narcissists before, because the bare minimum, de él just respect me sexually en específico. He didn't sexualize me at all. He made me laugh, fue caballeroso, and he paid for dinner. Basic things, has his own house, a car, a career. I would be like, oh my God, yeah, let's go again. Or maybe fuck. But there were so many other red flags in the date, and especially that one. The part that he didn't even wanted to get to know me. He just wanted to talk about himself and for me to praise him. And I could do my little fake laughs. I could talk about myself without being asked. Did I enjoy it? No. Did I connect with that person? Absolutely not. So just keep an eye open. You deserve to feel comfortable, to feel that they value you, your time, your words, your dreams, and for real. Not for a moment, not from time to time. No. If you're gonna have people by your side in this stage of your life, especially in your adulthood, and if you're in your early 20s and you're starting to figure yourself out, you deserve to have people that actually care about you and are self-aware when they have flaws or things to work on. A narcissist will never. So, yeah, this episode was kind of serious, huh? I'll be back to the sex talk soon, guys. I'm just taking a little break because I'm not getting railed. I wasn't getting railed either when I started talking about this, but these days I haven't been fucked. So when I get fucked again, you guys are gonna hear about it. Love you so fucking much. This is fucking Poochie Talk. Remember to like and subscribe. I love you so fucking much, baby. Todo lo que habla el baby lo voy a dar rapidito antes de irnos. Bye. Whoa, 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 whoa. See you later, bitch.